Upwork for today. Okay, so I'll just give you a brief about Upwork, and I have screenshots for in case anybody has an issue about the setting up of Upwork, so we can discuss about the same. All right, now starting with Upwork, what it is and how it all goes on. Just a moment. Okay, so now when you talk about like Upwork and how it works, so think of Upwork like a global marketplace for all the freelancing services, correct? So everything, like you'll see something from logo drafting, like logo like preparing, to legal drafting, everything under the purview of Upwork for that matter, right? So now what happens here is you'll see the clients, they will post the job here, and we as freelancers, we apply for that job, right? So one more thing I'll mention it here, that Upwork, it handles the payments, the escrow and payments, right? So another thing, basically you do not need a bar admission, like permission to get onto Upwork, as long as you're just demonstrating your skills in drafting, or let's say research or compliance. I'm going to say it again and again. That's one caveat, and one thing you should do before joining the Upwork platform, that this is not the platform for you to engage or advertise your personal business. This is the platform for you to just show or demonstrate your skills regarding drafting and everything. No legal advice to be given here, or no engaging into individual practices for that matter, right? So this is how it goes on. As I've mentioned, the client will post a job, you'll see it entirely. You submit the proposal to them. It's like you send a message to them, like if I in a very layman language and in a very informal language, the job has been posted, you have to send a message to them, why you're good enough, why you're a perfect candidate for this job. If you're lucky enough, the client will select you, they will interview you, and you will get hired for that matter. I'll explain you the entire in escrow fiasco and everything in the coming slides. Let me just first address the type of work you're gonna get on Upwork for that matter. So you're gonna get a lot of drafting work on Upwork. So you start from NDAs, master service agreements, your IP assignment agreements, employment agreements. So all of these you'll find on Upwork for that matter. I usually prefer, because I've seen a lot of people creating their portfolios, their gigs for IP in Fiverr. So usually you can go about that in Fiverr. But yeah, there is no bar to it. You would get a lot of work relating to cease and desist, the DMCA takedown, the DMCA compliance, the DMCA website drafting, all of that. Again, when you talk about compliance, again, a lot of work relating to drafting of the privacy policies, uh, GDPR review, or let's say CCPA also for that matter. Again, because when I started my legal research, like my Upwork account, I started as a researcher. I started when I was doing my master's. So I started it through the research line for that matter. So preparing of memos, or let's say the summaries of the cases, or um, due diligence reports, all of these come under the legal research. And uh, you know again, you do get a little paralegal task also, like you could review a document, format it, and all of that. All of this could come under your paralegal task, right? And again, before pursuing, I think it's my duty to let you know that you're just acting as a legal researcher or a paralegal, not as a licensed counsel. So don't ever place yourself in that foot. You're just a researcher, or um paralegal for that matter. So that's my like my duty to let you know before, so that things don't get haywire here and there. Okay, so because this is something we get to know once we are actually using it. So in case we have beginners or people who don't understand the escrow system, I'll just give a little understanding of this. So your Upwork, it uses something that is called an escrow system, something like an escrow system, right? So now here, like when you talk about an escrow, it's like a trust vault, right? So here your money is going to be locked safely before you begin the work, right? I'll explain it to you with the example. Let's say there's a client that hires you to draft an NDA for $100, right? On a fixed price contract, right? Now, before you even start working, what the client has to do is the client will fund $100 into Upwork's escrow account, and Upwork will hold the money, not for the client, not for you. It will just hold the money, and only after, let's say, you've completed that milestone, and everything is done, it is then the money gets funded to you, and then you begin your work. I'll just explain it to you in a simple manner. So what happens is, like once the client has raised their request, or let's say they've posted a job, right? So there, the Upwork account, the escrow account has to be funded with that particular amount, right? So only when it is funded is when you actually start to do your work, right? So like this is something that I'm actually advising you. So if you come across a situation where, let's say, a client asks you to start the work without funding the escrow, that's actually a red flag, and you should politely refuse to, for that matter, because let's be honest, the only purpose we're doing the same is to earn a little mullah for ourselves, earn money for ourselves, right? And if it's not going to work out, so I mean, I really don't want any one of you to just you know get caught into any scammers for that matter, right? Because I do understand once, like especially as beginners, because I placed myself in that foot, I used to be in that foot. At that time, our psychology and the way we think, it is, we're quite desperate for any job, or like we're quite overwhelmed that we're receiving a first offer, let's just go about it. But just please weigh all the pros and cons, and only then pursue things for that matter. So here again, like once you complete the work, like whatever has been asked for you, you go to the entire mechanism, and it there's an option that submit for payment. So from that point, once you've submitted your work, the client has 14 days. Yeah, the client has 14 days to review your work. So let's say if the client accepts the work, the payment is released immediately for that matter. And let's say if the client is silent about the money, an entire work for that matter, so then also the money is actually automatically released after 14 days. But in situations where, let's say, the client raises a dispute within those 14-day bracket, so what will Upwork do is Upwork will actually pause the payment, and it will intervene for that matter. So I hope you understand why it is a win and win for you, is because this is your biggest advantage, that basically you are guaranteed that the funds are deposit, and they are reserved before you actually invest your time into that, right? So like this is how exactly the escrow works. I'll even give you much more detail as we move forward. So you have two types of legal works when you like works relating to your legal field, when you talk about Upwork for that matter. So one is the fixed price, and the second is hourly. So if you ask me personally, and if you ask my preference, I usually opt for the fixed price work. I have done here and there, like a couple of works hourly doesn't suit me. I highly suggest, like if you ask me for an advice, jump in for the fixed price work first. So like when you why I consider fixed price like work the best, because here again the scope is quite clear. Like you'll have, like clearly they will mention you have to draft an NDA, or let's say a review the privacy policy for that matter. Like a simple task would be given for that matter, and so much is the amount for it. So it's quite straightforward for us, and we have to just complete it, and we're good to go. The hourly one, what happens is, Upwork offers, there's a mechanism Upwork offer, which is called as the hourly protection, right? So this works only if, let's say, you're using, so there comes a question, so I'm doing a work on hourly basis, how are you going to track my time and everything? So this is basically done via the Upwork time tracker, and the screenshots are enabled, and you have to write clear work memos explaining what the legal task is that you've performed. Like, so entire detail has to get into it. Like, personally, I feel, since I'm freelancing, I'm just working according to my own convenience. I personally don't like hourly protections for that matter, right? So again, as I've mentioned, if you don't do these three things, hourly protections, they do not apply, right? So please do remember, for your fixed price, the escrow protection is there, and for your hourly work, you have to have a tracker, screenshots of the things, and memos for that matter, right? So this is because this is how you're actually. Am I audible? I think I have a power outage. It's just, I think the system got down. Can anybody confirm at least if I'm audible and if my screen's visible?
Yes, yes, visible.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, I was just talking about this fixed price and hourly price. So you have two of these things for that matter. I'll even explain you, like, just to give you a gist about how this for that matter, the fixed price work and the escrow system and all of this works. So let's say there's a client that sends you an offer that, this offer is including the job. I'll even go through the entire Upwork website and show it to you. But take for example, let's say there's an offer that would include the job description, the fixed price for it, and the detail of the entire milestone, right? So what will happen is, inside that offer, Upwork requires the client. It's from the client side. Nothing has to be done from you as a freelancer. So it would require the client to fund the escrow, like the payment system, right? So the client, like I'm telling you from the client side, what they actually see is, right. So the client, they actually see a button. That is either fund the milestone or deposit the funds, right? So the client, basically, they cannot activate the contract without funding the escrow, right? So you accept the offer, like once you actually accept and the milestone is funded, the contract becomes active, right? So basically, what I'm actually trying to say is, you do not manually ask for escrow for that matter. Like there is no separate tab you click for that matter. Like your Upwork, it automatically forces the escrow step before the work begins, right? So like this is how the escrow system works. And one more thing, like as I've mentioned these things, I think about the client satisfaction and one thing. So as I've explained in the first scenario, let's say the client is satisfied, the client would click on accept, and the payment would be released, right? The second thing also, let's say the client is silent, after 14 days, Upwork itself auto releases the payment. The third scenario, because I had a few queries about it in the last session, like last batch I did. So let's say uh, there is a situation where my client is not satisfied with my work, right? So in the chat box only, you will see that the client is asking for changes, right? They'll either click on request changes or your dispute, right, within that 14-day time period only, right? So what will happen for that time period, your payment will be paused, and Upwork, what it does is, it asks you your work that you've submitted, all the messages and the contract scope. So Upwork would just ask every detail from your end, and then Upwork then decides, like, should it release the full payment, or partially, or refund the money back. Though I feel this is rare if the scope was clear and the work was delivered. So there's just one thing I want to tell, like escrow does not mean that you get guaranteed payment. It means guaranteed fairness, if I would just put it very equally for that matter. And one more thing, let's say if the client requests changes, like the like within 14 days, like within those 14 days. And now in that scenario, your payment is not released, so you revise the work, you resubmit the work, and when you resubmit the work, so then your 14-day clock would reset, right? So this can happen multiple times, but only with funded milestones, so for which the payment has already been submitted, right? And the reverse situation, let's say if the client stays silent for 14 days, then as I've mentioned, the payment is going to be auto released, and the milestone will be closed, so work is done. So I mean, the client cannot later say that, I'm unhappy, or refund this, or I want changes. So uh, like at this point, the money is legally and contractually yours, and any further work would require a new milestone, or a new contract for that matter. Okay. So this is just me personally telling you. Rest is all your take about how the for like fees and all of these things work around in Upwork. So let me first tell you about the Upwork service fee, because it applies to every type of contract, right? So what Upwork does is Upwork charges freelancers a service fee on each contract, right? And the fee would actually be shown to you before you accept the contract, right? So like if you talk about right now, as of now, Upwork follows a variable fee model, right? Which means your fee can range between anywhere from 0 to 15%, depending upon the value of the contract and the type of the contract, right? So the important thing I think that you should remember is that once you accept a contract, the fee shown there does not change for that particular contract, right? So if I give you a very simple example, let's just forget this one. Let's not go into big numbers. Suppose there's a client that hires you to draft a NDA. Like, this is a very realistic thing, and trust me, a lot of you would, the first work you'll get is NDA, right? So let's say you're being hired to draft an NDA for $100, right? And Upwork would show, let's say, I'm just giving an example for that matter, the fee that Upwork is charging as a service fee is 10% on the contract per view, right? So once the client approves the work, what will Upwork do is they will deduct that $10 as a service fee, right? So from that $100 paid by the client, your net earning, I think it would become around $90, right? So I hope you understand, this entire deduction would happen automatically. Like, you do not need to calculate or pay it separately. So I mean, if you can, you could even quote it accordingly, though this is much more beneficial in Fiverr when you have to actually quote your prices. And this is how it actually works. uh, yeah, this is I've actually created for Indian students. So for, let's say, if we are Indian freelancers, the most commonly used methods how you get the payment is uh, like I'll just explain you the history behind it. Like, once the money is released and let's say it is cleared from the security hold, it what it where it actually sits on is your Upwork account balance, right? So your next step is basically withdrawing it to your Indian bank account, correct? And that is where a lot of us get confused about the fees and all. So I'll just explain every such thing. So for Indian freelancers, it is like the most common one I've actually seen is, and something I follow is, I get it directly to my bank account. So what actually Upwork does is, here also, it actually charges a flat withdrawal fee of 0.99%, right? In dollars, US dollars. So it's not 0.99 rupees, it's 0.99 US dollars. So this fee is charged each time you withdraw, irrespective, let's say, of the amount. So whether you withdraw $20 or $2,000, the withdrawal fee remains $0.99. So if you would have a lot of connections with Upwork or people who freelance, you would notice a lot of them would actually tell you that, we're gonna withdraw after a certain threshold has been there. So basically, it is to just avoid paying the withdrawal fee every particular time, right? So if we continue the same example of $100, so net income, I think we received $90 after Upwork service fee. So now when you withdraw this amount to your bank account, Upwork will deduct 0.99 US dollars as a withdrawal fee. So I think it would just be around $89 something, point something, that is converted into our Indian rupees, and they are sent to our bank account, right? So typically this transfer reaches, if you ask me, to your bank account within 3 to 4 business days, right? So don't get panicked, right? The amount is not received by me for that matter. And though this is not my position to tell you, I'll still say consult your CA and everything. But I'll just give you a general purview about the taxes and everything. Uh, like Upwork is actually treated as an e-commerce operator under the Indian tax law. So what it does is it deducts your TDS. I hope you all would be aware about it. It's the tax that is deducted at the source on your earnings, right? So now this TDS is deducted before the money it reaches your bank. But there's a catch to it. I mean, just refer to this particular recording once you're getting on to Upwork and you're confused about a little things. Don't panic about all these numbers and everything. So let's say, as I've said, if you submit your PAN like number, and let's say it's verified and properly linked. So here Upwork deducts only 0.1% TDS on your earnings. And naturally, if you're not giving your PAN, it's a much higher percentage, which is, I think, around 5% of TDS. Which in my opinion is significantly higher. So this is why I feel linking your PAN is a non-negotiable. So I mean, like, I am not that good with numbers, but yeah, I when I actually got to know about all these things in Upwork, I was like, I would just earn peanuts for that matter. But if you just take that example, like if you talk about the $100 NDA for that matter, so suppose post earning you've got $90. So if your PAN is properly linked, Upwork will just deduct 0.1%, right? Which I think would be very small, essentially like a nominal deduction. And again, if your PAN is not linked, the deduction then it is very higher, right? So I hope you understand, TDS is not like an extra tax. It is deposited within like with the Indian government on your behalf, and you can claim credit for it while filing your income tax return. So I think it's this form Upwork provides you periodically, which you can use for this purpose. However, and this I'm just telling again and again, for filing returns or GST questions, you should always consult your CA. As freelancers, I could just, like as freelancer, I could just explain you the entire mechanism, not the personalized tax advice. So for that, you should actually contact the professional there. Okay. So just this is it about like the boring stuff that I thought I'll just clear before moving ahead. I'll talk about the optimization and what your title and everything is. Before that, I'll just show you in case anybody is stuck about how to get into Upwork. So for Upwork only, I had screenshot, because I actually prepared, like I have two accounts already, one my own personal one, and one we've actually used as a dummy account for educating purposes. So here, if you would see, as soon as you log into Upwork, like open your Upwork, you will have two options. They'll ask you if you are applying as a client, or you're applying as a freelancer. Naturally, you're going to click on freelancer. Then you have to fill in all your details. They'll ask you a couple of questions, that in case you have experience, you're an expert, or let's say you're brand new to the thing. So whatever works for you, just do it. If you want to skip it, you can skip the same. Then again, what's your goal about freelancing? Basic things, fill in that. And then we have how would you like to work? So you have two opportunities here. So this one, like the package one, is exactly how Fiverr works for that example. So like I'll actually show you the website and it becomes easier for you to understand. But on Upwork, primarily what happens is people would post their jobs and you have to apply for those jobs, right? On Fiverr, the opposite things happen. You have to create your own services, like what you do, what you offer, set up a price for it, and the clients will come to you. So it's the opposite way, right? So now even Upwork is offering this mechanism where you can package your services. But I feel stick your Upwork right now as a beginner, in case you've just started your account on Upwork. just click on I'd like to find the opportunity myself and create your profile. Then you have a lot of options for like uploading your resume and everything. Personally, if you ask me, I'll suggest you to fill it out for yourself manually. I'll give you the reason behind it. Because at times we do not really want to, like like being a freelancer, I understand, because I used to have 5 different resumes to apply at different areas, right? So naturally, let's say if I want to keep a portfolio that is more on teaching front, I cannot just upload that on Upwork for that matter. So definitely you should have a separate freelancing resume. So it's great if you fill it out manually. You mention what work you're going to do. So definitely we have the legal work that we are catering to. Then just mention the few keywords or your skills in that particular regards. So this, if you could just zoom in once you're checking the recorded version, these are the ones that usually pick up the algorithm. So I'll actually tell you how Upwork picks up the algorithm and you get a lot of work. So if you could just add these skills, this works, right? Again, your professional role, mention like the title and everything. I'll explain how you add it. You have to mention that, add your experience here. Your education, in case you've done more than 1 degrees, you would have another option to add more education qualifications. Mention your language, your proficiency in that language, and that's it. So now we're gonna actually talk about your bio and your title. Like here it had what title you should put on your Upwork accounts. So we're gonna discuss about these two. Just a moment. Okay. One more thing I like to just put up here is that please, in case you're a beginner, actually demonstrate you to my dummy account. Okay. So I'll just explain you so that things are easier for you. So like if you ask me the best practices, please create 3 to 5 sample projects for yourself. Like prepare a sample NDA for that matter, or service agreement and all of that for that matter. And like in each portfolio, like include a clean title like sample US NDA, right? Give a brief context about what this particular sample is about, right? So all of these things should be mentioned, right? And this is your title, this one, if you would see here, lawyer, contract drafter, all of that. And this is your bio where you're actually telling about yourself, right? Before beginning with how to draft your bio and everything, I'll just give you a few insights about how this entire algorithm works around. So when you talk about Upwork for that matter, so there's a thing called 24-hour engagement rule, right? So this is what I've actually figured out. So please do that. Like I've seen a lot of people say that Upwork doesn't work. Upwork doesn't work because we don't understand how the algorithm works, right? So like let's say every time you update a word in your profile, or let's say in your title, what Upwork actually thinks is that this account is quite active, right? So when your profile is active in the last 24 hours, it appears higher in the searches, right? So you know try to edit at least one word, or tweak the pricing, something like that, on a daily basis, or once in 2 days or once a week, right? And again, one more thing, like a lot of people don't know is that try to repeat your core words like 3 times, right? So let's say wait a minute, I'll just note it also. So let's say my core word is contract drafting, right? So I'll actually make sure that I add contract drafting in my bio, right? Or let's say in my first line here, or let's say in my title, somewhere it should be there, right? So basically how do we put it is like how actually I was told about when I tried to understand the entire algorithm thing. So try to include your keyword at three places, what they usually say is, the first would be your title, right? So I think you could see on my screen here, you can see contract drafting, right? Secondly, on the like in the very first line up till here, you can just put anywhere contract drafting, right? So this is a very old account. This was back when I was actually doing my masters, right? So here you can like probably use it within the first two lines at the maximum, and then at the mid section, like just a moment, I'll go about it. Like here, either in the services you offer or somewhere in the middle, mention about your, keyword, right? So these are really great things. Like at times what you do is, and what I've actually observed is, everything is going great, you have a lot of knowledge, experience, everything, but where we actually lack is we can't pick up the algorithm for that matter, right? So that is it. And again, Upwork measures how long the clients stay on your profile. So use short paragraphs and bold headers to keep them scrolling for that matter. And most important thing, if you can't take anything from this session, just take one, the geographical trust, right? Use the word US, or let's say Delaware, or for example here, if I'm mentioning contracts and agreements, you can mention US NDAs, or Delaware, California, or New York. So all these jurisdiction keywords, what they actually do is, they attract high paying contracts for like clients for that matter, right? So that is it in the first thing. I'll even tell you first about your title, just a moment, so that we go on step by step. So let's just talk about how to prepare, like what's the entire thing. It's a very simple formula. You can actually apply it on your uh, LinkedIn profile as well. Just a moment. I think it would be in the another slide. Yeah. So here, if you could see the title, right? So when you talk about the title of your bio, please don't mention something like, because why I'm telling you all of this is because I am actually guilty of doing all of that. I'm a law student or a law graduate looking for so and so work. Instead, like in case you're even a law graduate, like here I've mentioned US contract drafter, mentioned a law graduate drafting NDAs and service agreements for US businesses, right? So I hope you understand the difference. One sounds like a resume line, the other sounds like a service, right? So when you talk about the title, this is how it actually goes about. Please, first and the foremost thing, mention about your skill, right? Or whatever your niche is, the power keyword for that matter, right? Mention your role there, and your, what you do or what result you cater to, right? So other way you can also do is, you can mention the geographical area you're working upon, right? What is your role, or what is your specialty, and what is the value that you deliver, or the result that you offer for that matter, right? So here, if you could take a few examples, you can mention US contract drafter. Work you are doing is, let's say, NDA, SaaS agreements, for what you're doing it for startups, right? Or let's say you can go on the paralegal and legal researcher, trademark paralegals. All of these actually work. I'll actually give you few samples also, so that it gets easier for you to identify. So here only you take a difference between both. Like it's a weak title. I've seen, I myself was guilty of drafting a title somewhat like that. So this part, like the personal adjectives, just take it out of your titles, because I do understand when we are drafting, we want to add a lot of things relating to that. But yeah, please try to avoid using I'm hardworking and all of that, because the clients, when you come from the client mentality, they would never just go about with these kind of um a title for that matter, right? So make your title really strong. Uh, just follow this formula, this particular formula, and it's going to be so easy for you to prepare your title for that matter. I'll even give you these samples, the templates I have, so you can actually go about it and prepare your own titles for that matter. I think I would have a sample on the other slide. Okay, it's a the bio. uh, Okay, it's just that I'll share it on the group itself. So that's it with your bio, with your title. Now, when you come to your bio, so bio, as I've shown you on the website, it's where you have to actually talk about yourself, what you do, and all of that thing, right? So, one more thing is try to match your title, whatever hashtags or the skills that you've mentioned and your bio together, because again, as I've mentioned, it just picks up your algorithm for that matter, right? Now, when you talk about a bio, like the bio also has to be a pitch where you get hired, right? So whenever you come about your bio, it's not your resume, it's like a sales pitch you do for yourself, right? So let's say when a US client, it actually looks for a paralegal or a contract drafter, uh, they are not actually thinking that who studied the law, or what particular knowledge you have. So they actually think it from the line that, are you capable enough of protecting their business or not, for that matter, right? So basically, they when they see your profile, they would first see that, can you as a freelancer handle their legal issue? Do you understand the US law, or their jurisdiction? And are you clear in your words, or you're very complicated in that regard? So what I'm trying to say is, just keep them in the hook. Just see, what I was actually told when I optimized my Upwork was, never try to call yourself a beginner or all of that. Try to place yourself in a shoe where you're actually doing this or selling your services. Because if you're just saying, I am a law graduate, I have no experience, I'm just learning it, it will not look good on the clients, because obviously the clients care about getting their work done. Correct. So this is the structure you should follow, and that's it. Nothing more, nothing less relating to it. So the first one is, like, you have to hook the clients, right? So limit it to two lines maximum, so that you get them to click on the read more, that they should click on see more, and they should read your profile, right? Then you should mention your proof of your entire expertise. So you should here explain your background, your jurisdiction knowledge, everything for that matter. Then you should mention the services that you offer. So this always has to be like, this is a non-negotiable, like treat it in your mind as a non-negotiable. All your services should be in bullet points, no matter whatever it is, right? And then again, here you have to mention why you are reliable. So here you don't have to include your personal adjectives, like I am like hardworking and everything. So I'll give you a few tips here, and lastly is a call to action, where you invite them to contact you confidently, for that matter. So when we start with a hook, like, firstly we'll have the title to things. uh, I mean, when you see a complete bio, it will get much more easier to see, so you'll understand the hook line for that matter. Let's start with the proof of expertise. So here it's mentioned, with so and so experience assisting the US startups, or when you, let's say, you're specializing in NDAs, or you're experienced in federal and state law legal research. So I mean, I've actually catered into different experiences that one can have. Just a moment, I think it would be in the other file. Right. So here, if you could see, uh, this is how you go on with your hook line or your opening statement. So something like, I'm a law student looking for opportunities would not look really nice. So something like that, I help the businesses and law firms with accurate contract drafting and legal research, specializing in US compliant agreements. So I hope you understand the word. It's all about the play of the wordings, right? Then you have to mention about the wordings. Just a moment. So here again, this is a non-negotiable. Please use your bullet points. So mention the things you do, mention US here and there, so that it's not just about attracting the clients, it's also about building your algorithm for that matter. Then we come to experience. So here, see, I understand, let's say you're a law student, you just graduated, and naturally I understand there could be a paucity of experience for that matter. But again, you can just mention that you've done moot courts, you've done internships, done your research projects. Because if I'm not wrong, moot courts, internship, and research projects are three things that get mandatory in law schools. We have few mandatory internships. We had them in our final year. Moot courts are a mandatory subject, and here and there we get our research project. So use it and mention it, tweak your language and mention it to your clients. And then again, you end it up with your call to action that let's connect and I will ensure your contract are precise, enforceable, and tailored to your needs. Right. So basically, the step is that you have to place yourself in a shoe that you're actually doing these things from a long period of time, like not literally but actually mentally put yourself here, right? So here are a few examples. I'll attach like all of I have a template with me, so I'll actually send it to you. But in case you still want to take a screenshot, you can do it. So it's for contract drafting specialist. So in case you want to cater your bio, just go for this one as a sample. Then we have for the paralegal and research focus, you can go for this. So when, as I mentioned, when I started my Upwork, I started as a researcher, right? So I would mention about, I would provide you so and so citation, ILI, OSCILA, Blue Book, right? I even started doing something as little as proofreading, right? So it's all upon you what services you want to mention about. Then again, in case you want to do a hybrid model, you can do this also. So I think this might even fit in case we have people like me who are good at researching, but also they want to explore other areas of agreements and everything. So you could just do that. So as a law graduate with strong academic training and freelancing experience, I help clients with legal research. So this is basically what I actually get is you're not, disappointing clients from any area. So in case they need legal research, okay, yes, I'm here. In case you need drafting, yes, I'm here. So you're getting both the work for that matter. And you mention your areas of expertise, you mention your experiences that you have, and then you end up with a call to action, right? So this is how you go about with your bio and title. So I'll now just go to the Upwork account and tell you firstly what jobs you have to find for yourself. Before actually telling you how to apply for the jobs, it's first really important to understand, what kind of jobs that you should look out for yourself. So when you go to Upwork, you'll see something like that on your page. Obviously, you can search for your jobs here in the search column. So let's say you want to like look for just contract drafting, like NDA drafting. So you have to clearly mention here like NDA, or let's say for DMCA, mention DMCA, and the search will go about regarding the same thing in this particular regards. Again, before just telling you about things, I'll just show you about the portfolio so that we're not missing things. So here is where basically you can add your certification, expertise, and everything. You can update your weekly, the hourly payment and everything. This I'll actually take 10 minutes tomorrow and explain you what as a freelancer you should put your minimum amount as. So now this is your portfolio. So I hope you remember I told you actually prepare your at least your drafts and put it here so that the clients can, or samples that you prepare and put it here so that the clients actually know that you work. They can see what kind of work you do. Redact the information so that you're avoiding putting the name of the parties. I think this would be a paper of mine that I would have added for them to see my research skill. Yeah, this is one of my paper that got published. So this is one. I think I had one NDA also. Yeah, there was an ND also. I think this was, I redacted it. I did not mention the exact details. So yeah, I would show you like a few freelancers work tomorrow, like on Monday, about like when we go about Fiverr. So you could see it much more detailed manner. But yeah, please, it's a good practice. At least add 5 or 3 at least your drafts or your sample work so that the clients can actually see. Right. So add it here. Then I'll actually now show you the kind of work you should opt for. right? So you will see a lot of work here according to whatever you've sent up your profile, right? So now the first thing that you have to always keep in your mind, please, please always look for the work that has a payment verified. So I hope you can see this blue badge, like blue tick mark here. Now basically what it means is, like I explained you the entire escrow thing. So this means that the clients, they have added a payment method and they're more likely to hire you, right? So it's just a personal advice, please avoid the clients that have non-verified jobs. I think there would be few, until and unless I would have set up a filter. Yeah, here, if you could see here, they've mentioned about payment that is unverified, right? So again, when you talk about verified clients, they are like 3 times more likely to respond and hire you, and you actually get paid. So a lot of time we feel that I've done everything, I'm still not getting a client respond me back. So one of the reasons would be maybe you've selected the wrong, you've applied for the wrong client, right? This that is the first thing that you have to check. The second thing that you have to actually check is that what is the client spend history, right? I mean, how much they have actually like spend for that matter. So here you have to, like, here is the place you see the spend history. So anything that is more than $1,000 is great, like it's a great sign of serious business. And again, like, let me go to this particular client like job that they're asking me to see. So here you would see the like feedback given by other freelancers for that matter. Like they are consistent for that matter. Like if you see consistently the feedback is more than, or like it's up till 4.5 stars, that's actually comes as a very serious and a good client for that matter. So in a sense, please don't go for clients that have no hires, their spend history is zero, unless you feel that the job is like super recent and very well written for that matter. So these are the first things you have to always check, no matter how new you are to things. But this is how you actually do smart work. Check if what is the client paying history, what everything goes about, right? The second most important thing is check the age of the job, right? So here, if you would see, the job is posted just 2 hours ago, this one is posted 8 minutes ago, right? So in my experience, please apply to the jobs that are posted within the last 1 to 6 hours only, right? So maximum, yeah, you can go up till 10 hours also if you want to take the bet. But what I believe is, like, if you talk about the jobs that are like 24 hours old or 48 hours old, like, I hope you understand, most of the clients, they have already shortlisted people up till that time, right? So it's not a very safe place to just apply for jobs for that particular manner. And I'll explain you why I'm telling you that you have to be very selective in terms of applying for the jobs, because there's a system that is called connect, right? So these are basically currency only that you need to apply for the job, right? So it's not like freely you will apply for any job, you need connects for that matter. More to it as I move forward. So now let me just go to this profile only. So what happens here is, you will see the proposals here, right? This activity on this job, right? So currently this client has received 15 to 20 proposals, right? Proposals are nothing but how many people have actually applied for this job, right? So here again, if you ask me, if the proposals are less than 5 that the client has received, then it is good. If the job is fit, like like new and it fits you well, right? Again, if it is between 5 to 10, it's again a great sweet spot, you can apply for the job here. But again, like, if you ask me, if it is around 20 to 50 like proposals that the client has already received, then usually it is a very overcrowded job, like opportunity. Skip it unless you know you're a perfect fit, like you will get selected no matter what. So like, it's my personal preference that I should, like, if I'm talking about freelancing on Upwork, I would not like to compete in high volume places unless what I'm actually offering, that is something extremely niche for that matter, right? So these are the things, like, really important things that you should avoid and take care of. And another thing is, always check about the client's job description. Like, when you talk about a good legal job, it will mention about what exactly do they want. Like, here they want a NDA level legal document, right? So they would actually mention the kind of jurisdiction they want the, exact like drafting for, right? Or they would say that what their business is actually doing and everything. So from what I can see is all of these things we have actually done, right? So here they're seeking for an experienced legal drafting and formatting specialist to take legal content they have written and convert it into a professionally structured NDA level legal document, right? So these are the work that they actually want. They want structure of existing legal language, apply standard legal formatting. So they want all the things we have done, like reciters, define the terms, section numbering, all the consistencies have to be there, and it has to be delivered in Word and PDF form, right? So this is like, you understand that, where is the client coming from and all of that. So here what I'm trying to say is, please stay away from clients that say that you like, as you go on to this platform, you will see like there would be a lot of job posting that would say that need legal help with no detail, right? Or they would just say cheap, fast, easy work. I've seen these kind of job posting, and the most important one, just stay away from that. Need urgently and the lowest bid wins, right? So these are actually not safe for you to give your proposal to waste your connects onto, right? And last but not the least, please check about the client's location, right? Like statistically, and like asking from my peers and generally also, like I've seen the clients that are from US, then again from Canada, Australia, and your the Western Europe, right? Europe in general. Now these clients are more likely to pay you good rates. They respect your legal boundaries, and I feel they communicate you very clearly. And at times what happens is, like, let's take about this particular job. So here they need a contract drafting for an employment agreement, for an like an employment agreement on the US laws, right? So here now the job is hourly basis, right? So I've seen a lot of times what they do is, if they like your work and if it's quite ongoing for that matter, uh, they even give you permanent roles in their employment and everything. So yeah, that it becomes quite beneficial for you in that particular regards. Now here, if you would see, the proposals already for this jobs are 20 to 40, right? So I hope you understand, it's a very overcrowded job position for now, and they're already interviewing one. They've sent the invites to three, and there's one unanswered invite. So again, and this job, I think it's quite old. It's posted yesterday. So yeah, these are the things that have to be taken into consideration. So yeah, I think this is the basic of how your Upwork works. And when you talk about the algorithm, I'll talk about the most important thing. For example, let's say I want to apply for this job, right? So here I'll click on apply. So basically every job needs certain type of connects, right? So in simple terms, connects would be proposal. So in case I have here participants who have just logged in, like it's your first Upwork account, Upwork would give you few connects, right? And then what happens is, you have to actually either buy your connects, right? So I think they have an offer going on where they bundle, like it's a bundle that you get for certain dollars. So you could do that, but I do understand, as like when you're just starting off as freelancers, we do not really want to spend money here and there. So please be very picky in terms of your connects, because these connects are not free. Of course, you have to actually buy if the connects you go out of connects. So now for this job, I should have 17 connects to apply for the job, right? Currently I don't think so I would have all of that. I think I would have around 10 or something. Yeah, I have 10 connects, right? So this is how you actually do is, let's say I want to apply for this job, I'll click on apply now. For now it would just maybe redirect me that the proposals are insufficient and everything, the connects are insufficient. So like basically a box will pop up where I have to type my proposal, like basically how do I have to connect to my client, right? So for that, how do you have actually draft your proposal? It's something like that. Just a moment. Right. So here again, like I don't think so the method would be mentioned here. So if you could just understand it, like I'll just mention it, and then it'll be easy. So it's what we actually call as the PAVE method, right? I'll even send it in the group. So the first thing you have to actually do is the problem, like mirror the problem. So I hope you would be aware about, there were few advertising channels, or, some these uh, the episodes or something like that, that would just mirror what you have. For example, let me say that, let's say you're suffering from hair fall, right? So they would first set up a scenario where they'll say, oh, you're suffering from hair fall, we also relate to the same problem and everything, right? So firstly you have to mirror their problem, right? Secondly, you have to show your authority, right? Like you have to show your experience here. Then you have to mention about the value that you're going to add, and lastly you're going to end about with the call to action for that matter, right? So I'll just explain everything through examples. I think I might have skipped one part where I think I would not have mentioned your the skills that you should mention when you talk about in your bio, also your personal skills. Just a moment. So they should be more on the professional side. So here itself, when you see, when you talk about why you're reliable, so instead of saying that you're hardworking and everything, just remove that and use words like that, right? That you provide 100% confidentiality, you give plain English drafting, on time delivery. I mean, psychologically, if the clients read these things, they would be more attractive to your bio as compared to the other drafts for that matter, right? Then coming to your proposal, so uh, when you mention about the proposal, so there's this PAVE method you mentioned, right? So initially you're going to mention about whatever you're saying, it's absolutely correct and it's matching up with my experience and everything. You mention your process and you end up with what all things you can do for the client, right? So these are few things that you should never miss. It's like the freebies you can actually offer as a freelancer, first to build your profile into the freelancing world. So always add up your things, like you can provide two free revisions, or let's say you can do one revision, one again editing and all of that. So it's much more beneficial for the clients to go upon that way, right? So I'll show you the proposal here. I'm really sorry for jumping with this slides, because I think I had different classes, so I didn't really club it all. So as I've mentioned, first you give a greeting and everything to the client, and secondly you show them the problem, that you understand the problem for that matter. So you say that you need an NDA that not only restricts disclosure but also includes survival clauses to remain enforceable after termination, right? You mention about your skills and all, and then you mention about your experience and trust. So here you mention about any moot courts, internships and everything you've done. Now here is the good position when you also tell about your like profession, like your personal adjectives that are professional, like you offer 100% confidentiality and everything. Then when you before ending up the entire proposal, mention that you can provide free revisions and all of that, so it attracts the clients more for that matter, right? So as I was mentioning, we have this PAVE method. So the first thing is that, like in the first 3 seconds, they usually say that you have to grab the attention of the client. So if you read this one, you're absolutely right. Most privacy policies, they ignore the CCPA and Google's latest compliance checklist. I have helped clients to fix exactly that. So basically, now what they actually feel is that you've read the job description. So either copy the exact word from the client's job description and put it there, right? So they know that you've done your work, you've actually read it through and through, right? And then you have to build the trust with authority. In case you've not so much experience, you can just say that throughout my freelancing journey or throughout my experience, I worked with different types of NDAs, so on and so forth, or I have good experience in my US laws, or for that matter, anything that the agreement, like the job relates to. And then you mention about like what value you bring into the picture. And this is more like, I always suggest put this upfront, that you're going to give a free revision. And you might, this thing I actually add in my proposals, that I would give you a quick explanation of key legal clauses, so that you know what you're signing for. All these things actually build a lot of trust and credibility, and gives you an upper edge in front of the client, and you end up with a call to action for that matter. So this is how you actually send a proposal to the client. And I think that is it. Like when you talk about Upwork, that is all how it goes about. And even in general, when you go to Upwork and you see like a lot of work, most of it you would have a lot of knowledge about, be it this NDA, or they need a legal document preparation. And I think this would, so here it is for someone to redline and read. So they have three different milestones. So it's an hourly work, but one of them relates to master service agreement. And then again, we have some commercial contract drafting, privacy policy page. So I mean, basically, I've gone through all of this, and I then noticed that these are the things that actually repeat in a lot of like freelancing work. So yeah, so this is again the trademark attorney for use in commerce application plus C's and Ds. So all of these things, we do have a little knowledge, little to a lot of knowledge, and we can actually explore our avenues here. So yeah, that's it from my side. In case of any doubts, any questions or queries, you can put it forward.
Hi, Vinayak here.
Yeah, Vinayak.
I just wanted to know,
Mhm.
since in my case it will be very first time that I'll be offering my services for drafting.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to know like how my bio should be, like since I have no prior experience with respect to drafting.
Mhm.
So like what should be the approach if you're a like very first timer offering your services as a.
Okay, so Vinayak, what are you currently doing? Like, have you completed your law school? How it's about?
Yes, actually I was working,
Mm-hmm.
and like mostly the work that we performed was with respect to document review.
अच्छा ठीक है. Okay, okay.
So apart from that, as far as drafting is concerned, it would be
हाँ.
my very first time that I'll
Great.
be performing
See,
such thing.
what you can do is, see, first, this is a personal suggestion. Try to do it. So, what I actually did was, I think it was after I think post my graduation, like within 4 to 5 months, like luckily, I was lucky enough, the AIBE was like right next to the post my graduation. So I did that, and I actually prepared this dissolution agreement for a friend of mine. Like, they were in a like the casual partnership and everything, so I just randomly prepared a dissolution. They were ending their agreement, right? So
Right.
like, try to look for these situations where you're actually doing it for free of cost for your friends or here and there, right? Or if that doesn't work, like, this is the first thing I'm actually telling you to do: prepare a lot of samples for yourself, right? Because if you don't have proof, you cannot just go about it, right? So prepare it. Like, I highly suggest, don't copy paste the templates. Prepare it according to you. Like, if you ask me personally, prepare an NDA for your portfolio, right? A lot of clients are like, you will see Upwork is flooded with a lot of NDAs. They value NDAs a lot, right? Add one thing relating to something, let's say California's compliance, or add privacy policy for that matter. So go through the notes that I've sent and just copy few things, like if you think they are working for you, right? And in case of the name of the parties, just redact it, like put star to it, because you don't want to like put up your like, maybe you're not comfortable sharing your confidential information, whatever it is, right? So the main purpose of the client is to know that you're capable of the work you're doing. That's the first thing, right? Now, coming to your bio, what you can actually do is, I think I'll just share the template also, that so that it's easier for you. So either you can just mention that, uh, I'm a law student with focused training, let's say in contract drafting and legal documentation, or let's say I am trained legal drafting professional with some academic exposure. While if you ask me, like, let's say if you've little to no experience right now in the freelancing work, you can just mention that I assist the freelancers and small businesses with well structured legal documents and everything. So you can just, I'm not saying to falsify your your experience and everything, but just give a context to them that you're doing these services, right? So that it is easier for you to get the work, right? Or maybe just cater it or tweak it to such a way that you know that the main focus is not about how much experience you are, it's more on how capable you are of doing the work, right? So I had a similar student in batch 6. So there he actually focused his attention, like when he was mentioning about his skills and everything, he said that what he actually wrote in his bio, we actually discussed it together. So we made it around that, my focus is on clear language, practical clauses and everything. I follow a structured draft and all of that. So or like you could just go on with that particular way, right? So let's say if you have no experience, just start with like, I am a law graduate with focused training on contract drafting and legal documentation for that matter, and you assist, or let's say you have ample experience. If you don't want to write the word assist also, you can just mention you have ample experience in drafting or reviewing so and so agreements. Use these keywords so that you're actually being shown highest on the client's need, and then you mention more on your approach side. I'll even share the templates with you like on the group, so that you at least get a context that what you should write and what you should not write. In case you're stuck anywhere, we have Monday, we can discuss it, and post that if there's any issue, we can reroute it through Akshay sir, and we can just discuss the bio in case you're still stuck.
Sure, sure. That.
Yeah. So, I mean, just take your time, soak through it, like look at the templates also. And if things are not working, I mean, you have 2 days in the weekend, like go about it. If you still don't understand the approach, you should take it. We'll just take it on Monday or post that because I think Akshay sir is there to just help you throughout the journey of freelancing. So, yeah, there would be great support. So, in case you're still stuck, we could just reroute through that route.
Sure, sure.
All right. So
Thank you.
anything else? No problem. Anything else, anyone? All right, then thank you so much, everyone. I'll share the template as well as I think I forgot the execution one yesterday. So I'll share both of them. I'll see you on Monday. That's the last lecture from my side. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll see you on Monday. Happy weekend.